And we are here with Adam. Adam Morley, tell us about your district and why you're running for office.
So, yes, Adam Morley here from House District 19. State House District 19 includes all of Flagler County and southern coastal St. John's. That's here in Northeast Florida. It's where I was born and raised. And I first started running when I owned one of my several businesses and realized that our local needs and concerns were not just being ignored, but were really being our local control was being stripped away by Tallahassee, and they were trying to tell us that they know what's best for us, even though they are not here in our community on the ground like I am and have been for my entire life. So that's really kind of one of the reasons I started getting more engaged and more involved, and ultimately decided to run for this position.
I like that because a lot of people just sit and complain and they fuss. And they fuss at the TV, they fuss on social media, but they're not being active about.
Yes, I did that a lot for a while, and then I realized that it wasn't changing anything. It wasn't making a difference. So I decided to take the next step and actually start running. And it
Mhm.
has been a very, very interesting, rewarding, humbling experience.
It is
It's a
hard.
lot. It's hard. It's a lot different on this side, the side of a candidate being a candidate, than it is just kind of being a spectator on the sidelines. And
Mhm.
so, whether I agree with other candidates or not, I'm going to have to say there's a there's a fair amount of respect that I have for anybody who's willing to put themselves in this position and essentially get treated like a punching bag for the most part.
It's true. I'll tell you, just I follow along a lot of campaigns because I work in media buying and that kind of thing. And my give back is I've chosen to do this, where it's like I have these, I have a huge database. I've got media. Let me help you guys because I also know how hard it is for you guys to get earned media as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Sometimes, yeah. And so I'm like, all right, this is how I will give back. But one of the things that I have found is I've gone also out afterwards saying, you guys don't understand how hard it is for these folks. I don't care which party they represent, but when they are really just campaigning, the least you could do is show up and vote because that is like the easiest thing in this thing for you. Gosh darn, don't let them work this hard and not show up to vote.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Like we're putting in a lot of effort into this campaign and candidates into their campaigns.
Mhm.
Help us out. Show up and vote. We appreciate it.
Now, tell us a little bit about what's important to you in that area, right? I mean, like a lot of us visit that area for St. Augustine. We
Yeah.
see it, we love it, but do we really know what the heart of that area is? I don't think we do.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I was born and raised here, and I'm raising my family here. I've got businesses here, so I've really got skin in the game.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing and feeling at the community level, when we're not talking partisan politics, we're talking about day-to-day lives, the quality of life that we are experiencing day in and day out. And
Mhm.
the issues that people are talking about are quality of life issues. We are looking at massive overdevelopment of our areas, which leads to a decrease in the quality of life. We have great parks, great green spaces. We even some great developments and communities within our district
Mhm.
that have really kind of developed their own character. And now we have these these large developments being proposed and coming in where it's almost overnight changing the entire identity and character of the community that we as a community have worked so hard for
Mhm.
generations, honestly, to create. So that character
Yeah.
is changing way too fast for the gain, for the profits of just a few who aren't even here. They
That's the
just come
key
in.
piece. Yes.
Yeah, so they just come in and exploit what we have built, the community that we have built. The reason people want to move here is its characters, its identity. People love it here.
Mhm.
And then you have people who want to come in and capitalize on that. But what they either don't understand or don't care about is that the way that they're doing it and the development that they are doing is changing everything about the community and what the community wants.
Yeah.
So
And what
that's go ahead.
No, sorry. And what I've just realized in just interviewing quite a few folks is that, especially the state rep level, a lot of folks are saying, and then they realize the folks who they've sent to represent them in Tallahassee just seem disconnected as well.
Very much so. And we talked a little bit off air, the video that I shared and why I'm running as a Democrat. I get asked a lot why I'm not running as a Republican in such a heavily conservative area. But a lot of it has to do with a political machine that has such a grip, has had such control over the state at the governor's level, the House level, the Senate level for 20 something years now. And they've gotten so confident and so caught up in politics that they have kind of become disconnected from the people that they're supposed to be
Yeah.
representing. And a lot of the folks, and I'm finding this out, we're all just trying to like get by day to day, where we may not be as fully engaged and fully informed on what's happening at the state level. But what I'm seeing is that people are still voting up and just voting party line, and they're not really getting informed and engaged. And when you have a district that is so heavily conservative like mine, it's a challenge because a lot of people, they may not be looking into the candidates. And I'm sure it happens in blue districts as well, where the party is just exploiting the the leanings of that district, and that isn't even necessarily getting accurate representation. It's just
Correct.
they know that they're able to win based on party line votes, and that's kind of, it's disheartening for me because I think that regardless of party affiliation, that this position at the state house level is to represent this district and this community. And there's 120 throughout the state, 120 state house districts. And
Mhm.
each one of those individuals, in my opinion, they should be bringing the needs and the concerns from their district. And a lot of them are the same, a lot of them are different. There's uniqueness to all of them. And they should be bringing that to Tallahassee, and we should all be working together to figure out what's best for Florida. But for 20 something years now, actually more so in the last 10 years, because it's been 20 years since it's been total control. But in the last 10 years, what I've seen is they're not representing the constituents as much as they are representing the special interests that are keeping them elected. And that's unfortunate because I think we could
It
be doing a
is.
lot better.
No, and what I've seen with what you just said about whether it's a heavily blue leaning district or a red leaning district, and they work it in that way. What we're seeing is that is not democracy. Democracy is not working, and as a result, the people are feeling the effects of it because there's really, I would say, like there's no passion for the people of Florida anymore at a representative level, and that's what we're seeing.
Right. That's a great way to put it, is that
Mhm.
there's no passion for the people anymore. And 20 years ago, when the Republicans came into control, I believe that they came into control because they carried with them a message that resonated with the people, and they were tired of 20 years of Democratic control prior to that. And the people finally caught on to the Democrats being in control for 20 years, and they moved away from the people. And so there was this flip to Republicans. And now, 20 years later, the Republicans have moved away from the people. And so you don't, like, when a party first gains control, I believe that a lot of those individual representatives are there truly to represent their constituents and their
Yeah.
party. But as that machine starts getting stronger and stronger, it's harder for individual representatives to accurately represent their unique districts
Mhm.
because you've got a machine that is just too strong.
Yeah, yeah. And if you even look at how many bills came out from the state, like there is no way that those could have been vetted well. The people got to, have that due process. And I cringe about it because I am involved and I can't pay attention to that many bills.
It
And so
it's
how
it's a lot, and I as we are sitting here in hurricane season, it reminds me of one of the quotes, and I can't remember who it is, but it's a lot of people think hurricane season is the scariest, most dangerous time in Florida, but it's actually the legislative season that is the scariest time for Floridians because so much happens so fast and has impact statewide that
Mhm.
that to me that's scary, especially when you have all of these bills coming at us so fast that even those of us who are as engaged as we are can't keep up.
Can't
It's
keep
just
up.
it's frightening. And
Mhm.
to backtrack a little bit, again, red districts and blue districts. Something that I do want to point out and that I've noticed is that in blue strongholds, the same special interests and corporate funding is funding those candidates that's funding the candidates in the red strongholds.
Mhm.
That's very telling. That shows us who is actually being represented,
Mhm.
and it's not the people.
It's not the people. No, I agree with you on that. And when you look at the fact that the state rep races are every 2 years, right? I mean, like it really shows that the process really was supposed to be that they're really beholden to the people of that district. And it was set up to really be that, all right, if you did not do the job for the people of this district, you really would not have been, yeah, you would have been booted out. But I've seen so much spending now on state races that a passionate person just can't necessarily win.
It's tough because there's a lot of money involved, and
Mhm.
that money often comes from special interests or just a groundswell of support. And we've actually seen a groundswell of support this year because you've had things like the state parks proposal for
Which
development that
that was
really
shocking, man. That was shocking.
it woke a lot of people up and gave them the shaking that I think they may have needed to
Mhm.
kind of start looking at what's going on and considering some of the other candidates rather than just voting party line like they have in the past.
Well, look, we'll keep our fingers crossed, but and we'll keep working at the same time. So, Adam,
Absolutely.
tell folks how we could help you, right? Because I like to mention that every candidate I know needs door knocking. You need people to make calls because that's like the baseline that works. But you also need money to do this.
Ab-
Tell us about what we can do to help you.
Absolutely. Well, folks can go to the website votemorley.com and
Mhm.
sign up for our newsletter, and we send out information on basically our needs, our asks. As
Okay.
you mentioned, campaign contributions are always super helpful, but in addition to that, we've got a great group of volunteers that are doing postcard writing for us,
Yeah.
which is amazing, honestly, because we're pumping out 3 to 5 thousand postcards, handwritten postcards a week right now from the
Oh, nice.
yeah.
You've got a
So
passionate group
we
there.
have some really fired up volunteers, and it's great. And then we've got phone banking going on. We've got a team of phone bankers that are, and these are all volunteers. I've got one paid staff, my campaign manager, and I really don't pay her enough. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But she is absolutely phenomenal. But she's got our team of volunteers writing the postcards. We've got phone bankers calling, asking for support, seeing if people wanted to get engaged. We
Mhm.
this area is tough to get folks to canvas. Not many folks are really interested on knocking on strangers' doors and talking to people. Uh,
Okay.
so so I do a lot of that myself, which honestly has
Mhm.
a greater impact anyway. But I can't get all of the doors. So we do have a small team of canvassers that we try to get together and go knock on doors. We have sign waving events. So
Yes.
we've got all the things going on, and folks can stay updated with our newsletter that we send out. You can sign up for that again at votemorley.com, and you can make campaign contributions. One thing that Sarah, my campaign manager, points out is $1 can reach 2 voters, because it's 50 cents per postcard to send out. And so each postcard reaches a household, could even be 2 voters. So even small contributions are helping us reach more voters and gaining those impressions that we need. Because at the end of the day, campaigning is just like any other product marketing, call it. You need 7 to 9 impressions before people really start to, and you in the media business, you know and understand this.
Yeah.
You can't just put it out there once and hope that it sticks. You've got to keep putting it out there like a campaign. You have to run a campaign so that people see your work and your dedication and your message 7 to 9 times before it really starts to register, so that they remember who they should vote for in the election. And when you're up against a lot of money, like me, a lot of these voters are getting 2 pieces of mail a day from my competitor.
Oh, so you're in one of those seats where they are rolling it. I've seen that, and I've seen the level of signs, and I thought, what could a state rep race? How could it? How could we need to spend this much money?
What's really crazy is that the position only pays $29,500 a year, and they're literally spending millions of dollars on this.
I don't think average Floridians understand this.
It shows how important these positions are. It doesn't pay very well, but that's how important it is. There are special interests willing to invest millions of dollars to get their candidate into these positions, because that is where they're going to get their ROI, the return on investment, is by investing at the state level so that they can get what they want across the board.
Well, we're here as a local Floridian who loves Florida to just do our part to help you guys get some free press. And I just hope that other people realize they've got to just help however they can. You have some funds, you like his message, donate, get involved, volunteer. This is what democracy looks like, guys. This is what democracy looks like, and it is hard.
It's so hard.
Thank you for doing this. We will come back. We'll stay in touch, and we'll keep this going until November, and it's voting day, and no, until the end, until 7 p.m. that night.
Until 7 p.m. November 5th. We are gonna keep moving. Even afterwards, after the results come out at 7 p.m. November 5th, we will keep moving. We are not going to stop. We cannot stop.
Can't. We love Florida too much, and it's worth the fight. I tell folks now, I really didn't realize how much I love this doggone crazy state till recently, when I'm like, and I'm happy to meet so many people who are actually crossing lines and really just talking to people, because I feel like on both sides, things are going a little too crazy. Just the average person is being affected, right? Absolutely. To where their entire being is caught up in this election again. And I just feel like conversations across the aisles to the everyday people are what we all have to keep doing, just for the sake of Florida.
And that brings up, it reminds me of a great point back to my campaign that I have to mention, because I'm super honored for this. I have Republican elected officials in my district that are coming out and vocally supporting me, because they know who I am. I've been a part. I've grown up here. I'm a part of this community, and they see and they understand that. And so I have lots of Republican support now
Mhm.
coming out and vocally supporting me. And I met with the libertarians, and they're in support of me. It's amazing how when you simply sit down and talk to them, and they get to understand that you share a lot of the same values as
Mhm.
residents of this community. That, yeah, we've got our partisan differences, but overall the core values that really aren't being represented from the district, they can see that I do represent those core values. And while my opponent might be a great guy, like, I haven't really talked to him, I just know that he got here in February. He literally moved to this district in February. And so how does an individual that isn't even a part of the community expected to represent
Mhm.
accurately the
Yeah.
values of this community? And that's what's been happening with this district, because it's such a safe conservative district, the way that it's
Wow.
drawn, that it's used as a stepping stone for people to build political careers. And it's
Mm.
super safe. They don't have any accountability to the voters, because it's so disproportionately favoring
Yeah.
the Republicans, that in if the if a Republican wins this seat, and I mentioned this in the video that we talked about, if a Republican wins this seat, he goes unchallenged for 8 years. There won't be anybody that challenges the incumbent. And this is my final
Yeah.
run. It's an open seat. This is my
Mhm.
final attempt to win this seat. If I can't win it, I'm not running again. I'll stay active and involved, and I can't help it. I live here. So
Yeah.
I am more accountable to the people of this district, because it's not a safe district for me unless I'm doing a darn good job
Good job.
at representing the constituents, representing my neighbors, the people, the voters of this district. Because in 2 years, if I'm not doing a bang up job, I am so easily replaced. I am so
Mhm.
easily held accountable for what I'm doing, that they can then run somebody else and get better representation in their
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
If the Republican wins this district, 8 years, zero
Yeah.
accountability.
And no real changes, no real changes, because at the end of the day, if you win this district and in 2 years they have to put up somebody, they've got to put up a fight. They've got to
Right.
really put up a fight, and so they've got to listen to the community. And so yeah, this is at least what we could do. This is at least what we could do.
And I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Adam. We'll be following you, and we'll be dropping all of your media below, so people can follow. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.